Heyo! And what is up, gang? Thank you so much for stopping by the channel tonight. What a crazy night this was. WWE TLC came at us from Minneapolis, Minnesota, and it is not without its issues. As always, if there was no issues, why would I be sitting here talking to you when we are going to talk about all of it right here and right now on the newest, fastest rising podcast in all of the YouTube wrestling community, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. So, let's do it. Alright, wrestling fans, thank you so much for joining me here again today. My name is Nick Nightmare. Along with me is my tag team partner, the world's heavyweight champion of microphones, Blue the Snowball. We got Seth Rollins and Bobby Roode in the back as always, and we are here tonight to talk about TLC. TLC was actually a good show, but let's not get too far ahead of ourselves, because I see through the fluff and I see through the garbage, and there was some garbage tonight. Not just the big giant garbage truck that happened to be there for the most overbooked main event I probably have ever seen. The most nonsensical main event we have ever seen. And we are going to get to that, because the rest of the night, with one small hiccup, was full of very, very good stuff. We had a lot of good matches, surprisingly good matches in my opinion, and I was enjoying this show very much. And we could start off by talking about that. But first, actually, I want to also remind everybody that coming tomorrow on the show is going to be my review of House of Glory's Glory of War, which took place last night at the NYC Arena right here in Jamaica, Queens. It was a great night of wrestling action. It was a weird crowd, a little bit of a weird crowd, but I'll cover all that in the show, which will be dropping live on the channel tomorrow. Don't forget to check that out. And before we truly get into this review, we need to give a round of applause to tonight's truest and biggest superstar of the night. And the name of this superstar is Viral Meningitis. Let's give him a round of applause, because he is the superstar of the night. He saved this show. He saved us from Sister Abigail, and him allowing us to see the first ever encounter between AJ Styles and Finn Balor. I could never thank Mr. Meningitis enough for that. It was the match of the night by far, maybe the best match the WWE has produced all year, but, and there's always a but with me, isn't there? I have a problem with that as well. So let's get into the pay-per-view. TLC, Minneapolis, Minnesota, and all you Minneapolis meatheads that were at this show that got caught up in that wild and crazy main event. I mean, I guess I can't blame you. I guess if I was there, I would have got caught up in all the nonsense too. But it was the longest, most drawn out, most predictable, and nonsensical main event they've had. And it did not do this pay-per-view any favors, because it definitely brought the quality of the show down, in this guy's opinion. You don't agree? That's fine. You're allowed your opinion. You could always sound off in the comments down below, and I encourage you to do so. While you're there, don't forget to smash that like button if you enjoyed today's broadcast, and if you're not a member of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show Club, make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring the ringside bell, which is right next to it, so you're always notified when a new video drops, just like today, as this TLC review is about to drop right now. The kickoff show started off with a surprisingly decent match, nothing to go crazy about, but it was a very solid showing from Alicia Fox going up against Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks would get the win, of course, catching her in the bank statement in the end after a somewhat competitive and kind of hard-fought match. I was surprised at the effort put forth, and I appreciate when the effort is put forth, and it was not as bad as I anticipated. So, 2 thumbs up for this kickoff match, and fine, I'm alright with it. The show kicks off with the debut of the Empress of Tomorrow, Asuka, making an absolutely stellar entrance and a fantastic debut match with a perfect opponent in Emma. This, again, was a highly competitive match. These two were going at it, very stiff shots. Asuka was on top of her game, and she made Emma look great. This was the best Emma has probably looked ever since her call-up to the main roster. Her wrestling ability was showcased tonight. It was a great match. I am not upset with the outcome. I was quite afraid that at many points during this match, this match was so good on Emma's part that I thought that they just might find a way to ruin Asuka's debut and maybe make her lose somehow. But, the common sense in me was like, what are you talking about? This is Asuka. Nobody is ready for Asuka. And that proved to be the case tonight, as Emma would go down and be the first in what hopefully is going to be a long line of women that are going to go down at the hands of Asuka. Great match. The Cruiserweight Tag Team match would be coming up next, and I almost was already going to take my first bathroom break of the night. But I gave this match a chance because I had a feeling, thanks to viral meningitis, we had a lot of extra time to fill on this show, and whatever plans they initially had were not being made. And we got these impromptu changes made, and I believe one of those changes was to give this match an ample amount of time. And these guys pulled off a cruiserweight spectacular. Maybe spectacular is a little too big of a word, but compared to what we have been getting, this was a true cruiserweight encounter. These 4 guys went out there and they went all out. And let me say this about that. Jack Gallagher. I love this evil Jack Gallagher. I don't watch 205 Live enough, and, they don't showcase them properly on Raw or anywhere, to be honest with you, but I love the fact that he's a gentleman and he's a heel. When you have that contradictory title in your name and you're passing yourself off as a prim and proper guy, but you're a dastardly, dirty bastard, it's great. And he pulls it off very well. His look is unique, and he makes him look more pompous and arrogant than he even is, just standing there. He doesn't have to say a word. And going with the Brian Kendrick, it just works for some reason, and I was very intrigued. And their chemistry is great as a team, as is Alexander and Rich Swann. We have seen this over and over again, but we had not seen it at this level. This was a great match between these 4 guys, and Cedric Alexander and Rich Swann would come out with the win in this one. And it actually makes me want more cruiserweight action if that's what you're going to give me. If you're going to give me matches like this on a consistent basis, I'll watch 205 Live. What the hell? What else am I doing after SmackDown besides this review? I could always go back and watch it after, but I don't, because this is not what we get. We get typical WWE show type wrestling. When you give us something like this, how could you not want more? Be honest with yourself. Give them a chance, as you did tonight, and you could see this is the allure. This is what brings the cruiserweights to the table. A match like this. A stark contrast to this match, which is an example of that WWE-style cruiserweight match that I'm referring to, would be the Cruiserweight Championship match, which we'll get to in just a minute. It was an absolute opposite of what we got here, which is why 205 Live and everything else is failing. But before that, we had the Raw Women's Championship match, which I'm going to say delivered on many levels. I was a little bit confused by Mickie James's speech at the end. It seemed almost like a goodbye. Like maybe she's going to be gone for a while and come back again. Maybe she's going to SmackDown. I don't know. It just seemed a little awkward, and it blurred the lines of reality, and she was genuinely crying. And I don't think she's that good of an actress unless there's some sort of a real-life emotion behind it. I don't know. But the match itself was pretty decent. It was good. Not Alexa's best match, but probably her best match with Mickey since they've started tussling. And I thought it was fine. I also really believed that they were going to give this match to Mickie James. I thought because of her familiarity with Asuka that she would have been a great transitional champion so that she could carry the belt towards Asuka's hands and they would be able to deliver a great match. Having the belt on Alexa means we're going to build, I guess, going into Survivor Series. If what I was hearing on Raw Talk is any indication, she's going to try to form possibly a team. So I'm thinking they're going to have a 5-on-5 or 4-on-4 women's Survivor Series style match, which would not be the first time ever. We've had those before, so if they start throwing that line around, that's false. We've had an all-women's Survivor Series match before. So this will not be the first time. It will be the first time in a long time, and it will be great to see. But I'm thinking that somehow she's going to get Asuka on her team. She's going to have to get Sasha on her team, and possibly Emma, and then Nia Jax and herself going up against Team SmackDown, which will be, Charlotte and everybody over there. Charlotte, Becky, Naomi, Natty, and Carmella. Survivor Series. There you go. And you'll start inner turmoil between Asuka and Alexa there, maybe. I don't know. I thought by Survivor Series they would get Asuka the championship, but where they truly go with this, we'll have to wait and see tomorrow night what direction this whole result takes as the champ retains in her title defense against Mickie James. The Cruiserweight Championship match would be a completely different story, as for some unknown reason, they gave the title back to Enzo Amore. Which brings us back to something we keep saying all the time, which is why bother? They did this with the women, they've done this to Neville. Why do you throw hiccups in the title reign? It made no sense. It only makes it even more evident that the only reason you did it was just to spite Neville. Because he didn't want to lose that night, so you're like, alright, so we'll make Enzo lose the title, just to make Neville look foolish, and then we'll just give it back to Enzo at TLC. The pay-per-view's coming up anyway. And now he'll be a 2-time Cruiserweight champion. What does that matter? It doesn't matter. It doesn't make him a more credible champion. His match tonight proved how much he's not a Cruiserweight. This guy's got major league mic skills and minor league in-ring talent. You could see it clear as day. A talent like Kalisto is wasted against a guy like Enzo Amore. I'm starting to believe anybody is wasted against Enzo Amore. What does his talent really have? What does he really have to offer in the ring? I don't see a style. I just see him like a spot monkey. He just gets beat up and beat up and beat up, and then out of nowhere he just is going to win. And it just, I don't know. I understand that scrappy come from behind kind of thing, but that's kind of a good guy thing, but he's doing his heel shtick now. Enzo Amore does not make sense to me. Him being the champion does not make sense to me. The fact that they took it from him to give it back to him does not make sense to me. And like I said, these are the reasons why the Cruiserweight division is failing and why nobody's watching 205 Live. He wants to take credit for, what, the failing ratings? Nobody's watching. Why does he think people are watching now because of him when he does all his shtick? That's not true. You're just inflating your ego. It's what you believe. It's definitely not the truth. And they need to shake things up in that Cruiserweight division. We all know this. We all know this. I'm preaching to the choir at this point. This match annoyed me and just made no sense. I knew this was coming. Enzo Amore defeats Kalisto and is your new Cruiserweight champion. Cash. Now we get into the match of the evening. AJ Styles went one-on-one, and I'm going to take a minute to stand up here, and I don't do this very much, and don't worry, it will not be inappropriate, I promise. I just want to show you guys that here he is, Finn Balor. I have these very nice Finn Balor sweatpants, and I was representing both gentlemen. The color scheme went very well, if I would like to compliment myself, and I will, because it's my show, and I'll do what I want. And if you like the outfit, feel free to let me know. I had Finn on my lap, and I had AJ on my chest, and that sounds a lot more inappropriate than I intended. But this match, I felt at times, for a moment, that I was watching Ring of Honor or New Japan. Like, this was not what you were typically accustomed to seeing in a WWE ring. Fast-paced action. Constant reversals. Two men so evenly matched that they would go for the same move on more than one occasion. Their chain wrestling ability on the mat, their back and forth sequences, their aerial ability, it just all encompassed in this beautiful 20-plus minute match that should not have ended. And we had Finn Balor come out on top of AJ Styles, who flew 12 hours from South America to be in Minneapolis on this day to have this historic first ever match, and it was beautiful. Here's my problem with it. If you truly seen the value in this match, and this was a last minute thing that we're just going to do this because we have no other choice. We need a huge level match. AJ Styles is available. He stepped up, whatever the case may truly be. This is how you book this scenario. You give these guys a 30-minute time limit, and you let that time limit expire. You let the clock show up at 2 minutes. Do you know the drama and the excitement you could have built with the two of them trying to gain pinfall as the clock wind down? It would have made this match even more epic than it turned out being. And then you end up with that clock hitting 0. You do not have a winner, because these two men are on equal playing field. Neither one of them should be losing in this scenario because it's a cold match. It's a match out of nowhere with no build behind it, no hype, no drama. There is history between the two individuals. They did thankfully mention it. I was grateful for the little tidbits they threw about their history with the club and both being leaders of the same faction. Thank you for at least being honest about these guys' backstory. But by not having anybody win, AJ goes back to SmackDown. Finn Balor remains on Raw. Now you make the brand separation maybe start to mean something a little bit, because it doesn't mean anything, which is why the upcoming Survivor Series is going to be nonsense. But you have no winner, which makes the rematch even bigger, especially now that you've seen what you got in that 30 minutes. And then you go on and you begin this feud between them after you do your shakeup. You have them on the same show. You bring AJ Styles to Raw. You have Finn Balor stay there. Maybe you get Gallows and Anderson involved. You bring the club more to light. You make it the Balor Club. You make AJ maybe feel like the standout. You know, like he brought Gallows and Anderson in, and now you guys are hanging out with Finn Balor. What about me? You know? And now you start that. They've already had this encounter where they could not tell who was the winner. So going into this next encounter, hopefully at WrestleMania, or I'd be even more forgiving at the Royal Rumble, you have AJ Styles versus Finn Balor again, and you pull the same stunt. 30-minute time limit. They keep going and going and going, and nobody wins. Leading you to WrestleMania. 60-minute Iron Man match. They could definitely do it, where both men could get pinfalls over each other, have it tied till the very end, and you give the victory to Finn Balor, if that's who you truly want to put over. Because it's not lost on me the fact that AJ Styles is AJ Styles and he comes from somewhere else. And AJ Styles is not the creation of Vince McMahon. Finn Balor is. He came to the WWE as Prince Devitt, but then they created Finn Balor. So they want their creation to shine greater than anything that's been established already. AJ Styles. I can't help but think that that is the reasoning behind Vince McMahon's booking, because there was no reason for Finn Balor to win tonight. As great as that match was, and it will always be great, and yes, having him win was fine. It's not going to bother anybody because it was such a great match, but it bothers me because AJ Styles deserves more than that, especially after he's going out of his way and has this long ass flight and does this favor for you. You have him do the job. What happened to draws? Why can't we have that happen? Why does there always have to be a winner or a loser? Once upon a time, as I just beautifully illustrated to you, you could use that as a tool in your storytelling. And this was the perfect time to do that. So that is where they failed with this particular match. Other than that, I cannot tell you that there has been another time this year where I have watched a WWE product so intently and intensely as I did during this match. It was fantastic. My criticisms aside, it was a great match. AJ Styles proves that he's the best in the world. Finn Balor shows the world who doubts him that he, too, is in that category of the best wrestlers in the world. They proved it tonight. I can't wait to see it again because they're going to have to top this. And I know that in the back of their minds they were thinking about Kenny Omega and Okada and all of this other stuff that we've been hearing about. And matches like Ricochet and Amazing Red hitting the internet by storm, taking people's imagination away from the WWE. And they definitely used a lot of those notes in the song that they played tonight. And it was a beautiful, beautiful song in the middle of that ring. Fantastic. After this, throughout the night, we haven't mentioned this, but we had Elias keep coming out trying to sing a song, right? And then we had Jason Jordan bringing out a wagon full of catering goods and was pelting him with fruits and vegetables. Now, it's not lost on me the fact that is amusing. Getting hit with lettuce in the face while you're trying to sing a song, I guess it's funny, but having it repeated over and over and over again in the same night is a little much. Only for it to lead to a cold match. Once again, a ridiculous, nonsensical match between Elias and Jason Jordan, where you have Jason Jordan come out on top of the hotter, more popular Elias. For what? Elias is the one that needs to be built. You have been doing the right things by Elias, and now tonight you make him suffer a loss to a guy that's been doing nothing but losing to the top talent on Raw and being put into teams with other people. Doesn't make Elias look very good. Doesn't make Jason Jordan look that good either. I mean, how nice of a guy are you that you want to come out and throw fruit at people? What's wrong with you? You're supposed to be the son of Kurt Angle, right? Where's your integrity, bro? You're throwing fruit at the guy. Come on. Ridiculous. Sidebar, Austin Aries found it funny because Jason Jordan used a banana. So, there you go. Stupid match. Didn't need to be on this show at all. Now, let's get into this ridiculous main event. Now stick with me here, guys. Don't get all on my case and be like, oh, why didn't you enjoy it? I'm not telling you I didn't enjoy it. I enjoyed it for about the first 10 minutes, and then it just kept going and going and going like the Energizer Bunny, and I wanted to take the batteries out because this was, like I said at the opening of the show, the most overbooked main event I've ever seen. We had dueling table spots with Ambrose and Rollins coming off the ladders that were set up outside. We had nonstop chaos and chair shots. We had people going through stages. We had Kane pulling the chairs down. We had a garbage truck just happened to be around for The Miz to try to throw people away all night, when this whole entire match, by the end of it, is the only thing that deserves to be in the back of that dump truck. I don't understand what this match was. This was ridiculous. It was overbooked. There was way too much happening. For a 5-on-3 handicap match, not all of this was needed. You could have picked and chose the best spots. I would have definitely left out the garbage truck. There was no need for you to find a quote-unquote logical way, because if this is WWE logic, it just goes to show you how far they have truly fallen and how stupid they are. To need a garbage truck to take out Braun Strowman and have him exit the entire match is just too much. It's too much. Kane's sudden turning on Braun Strowman, which then prompted the rest of the Miz's team to turn on Braun Strowman and put him in the back of this truck and then pull the lever, have the truck suck him up, and now Braun Strowman's a non-factor in this match. Is this his heel turn to babyface? Is this how we're going to do it? Are we going to have Braun Strowman come out tomorrow night and challenge The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship? I don't want to say that I wouldn't enjoy that, because if you put that belt on Braun Strowman, you're putting it on somebody that's going to defend the belt and not have a problem beating anybody. It's going to probably be better than what The Miz is doing with it. But all in all, it was too much. And let's not forget the fact that before they did this to him, Braun Strowman was chokeslammed by Kane through the stage and was then buried in a pile of chairs that were hanging from 100 feet up. And then Michael Cole and Corey Graves and Booker T were bickering all night long. And as a little side note on that, let's get Booker T out of there. You know, I don't usually mind Booker T. I know a lot of people dislike him. I don't happen to dislike him. But if all they're going to do is dump all over him and make him look stupid and contradict every point he's trying to make, he's trying to be entertaining, and sometimes he stumbles on his words and they just jump all over him instead of focusing on the match, then just get him out of there. He's not needed. But these guys want to sell Braun Strowman coming out of this pile of chairs like Godzilla coming back from the ocean to take out Tokyo once again. This whole thing was booked like a Hollywood horror film. And it made no sense. And why is the 50-year-old mayoral-elect guy a dominant, powerful monster force again? Kane has not looked this strong or has been booked this strong in years. And now he's going to come back in this one-off match and be the driving force to take out Braun Strowman? The guy who was on his team, no less? When he was the guy that accidentally hit Strowman with the chair at the beginning of this match in the first place, which started the first little bit of dissension there. But then Braun Strowman got over it really quick and they continued on their attack with the Shield. And it just kept getting out of hand. Let's not forget the fact that this was not the Shield. And they made this like it was the Shield. It was supposed to be Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Kurt Angle, right? I'm sorry, and Roman Reigns. That's the Shield. When Roman was taken out, Kurt Angle was inserted, and I assumed that Rollins and Ambrose would come out to their own music, and then Kurt would come out to his own music, because they are not the Shield. And you can't sell me a reunion of the Shield without one of the founding members of the Shield. I don't give a damn that you put a jacket on Kurt Angle. That is so damaging on so many levels. First of all, I don't feel like I've seen Kurt Angle come out tonight. I saw some guy come out dressed up in Shield wear, some bald guy, pretending to be Roman Reigns. And what the problem with that is, another problem with that is that it's clearly showing every single one of you. And allow me to open your eyes for just 1 minute, because if you got lost in the hype of Kurt Angle being part of the Shield, one of the biggest drawbacks I can show you about this is that it proves that you could literally take anybody and make them that third member. The Shield will be just as popular as ever. It doesn't matter. You take Roman, you put him in there, they're going to cheer. You could take Kurt Angle, take him out, and put Kurt Hawkins in there. They dress him up, they do that, they're going to cheer. Because it's the Shield. It doesn't matter that it's Kurt Angle. To me, all you did was ruin the return of Kurt Angle. I wanted to see Kurt Angle. I saw Kurt Angle dressed up like the Shield. That's not the in-ring return of Kurt Angle. And then you take him out for the majority of the match. I'm almost convinced that this was the exact same script that they were going to have happen in that spot. What they did to Kurt Angle is what was going to happen to Roman. Roman was going to get taken out of this match for the majority and come back to be the hero and save his two buddies. And let's say this about that. Two men the size of Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, I don't care how tough you are, how much of a lunatic fringe you are, if you're a Kingslayer, I don't care. There is no way, and I know this is wrestling, but that is the most unbelievable garbage you can write. That these two guys can come back from an onslaught of 5 men that include Braun Strowman and Kane. The way they booked Kane tonight, I'm afraid of Kane again. I wouldn't want to get in a match with him if that's how they're booking him to be the monstrous demon he was 20 years ago, which is far, far from what he's become in the last few years before he rightfully disappeared and is now so stupidly returned. I don't know if we're going to see him again. I don't know if we're going to get a program between him and Braun Strowman, or if he's going to go back to Knoxville or Tennessee or wherever the hell he's running for mayor and just do that. In which case, how does this look? You're trying to get elected mayor. Oh, hang on 1 second. I need to drop off the campaign to go do some wrestling stuff and be a bad guy and do some evil things on TV and hurt some people and bury a grown man in 100 chairs. Vote for me, I'm Glenn. I don't get it. I don't like that he wasn't dressed in his own clothing, Kurt Angle, obviously. I do not like that he came out in the beginning as part of the Shield. This was not the Shield. This was a joke. This whole match ended up being a joke. And it hurts their Roman Reigns agenda. It definitely does. Because it just shows that Roman doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that Roman's back with the Shield. You could put anybody back with the Shield. It's the Shield. And when you take him back out and put him on his own, we're going to get the same old results. So I don't understand it. The most crazy, chaotic main event I've ever seen. And to have Kurt Angle come back and help them win this thing after this beating that they took that they just should have never survived. Rollins and Ambrose were thrown in the back of that dumpster first before Braun Strowman was taken away in it. And that was the intention of The Miz. Because Kurt Angle was already eliminated from the match. Let's put these two in this dump truck. But they were able to fight back all of a sudden because they're in the back of a garbage truck. Oh, I'm re-energized and I'm going to fight off Kane and Braun Strowman and Sheamus and Cesaro and everybody. I'm going to have all this strength now. Even if it's a second win. And Michael Cole kept saying it. And he's always saying ridiculous things. And he was definitely bad tonight. Let's not get lost on that. But they kept saying, oh, second wind. They're getting a second wind. How are these guys doing it? And that's what my brain is saying. Why would you want me to believe that this is even possible? And I understand this is sports entertainment. And I think Corey Graves said something like that, too. I understand that this is wrestling. But this is ridiculous. It ruined the night for me. I'm sorry. You might disagree, and you are entitled to do so. I hope you enjoyed tonight's show. I did enjoy, for the most part, but after about 10-15 minutes into that main event, I just wanted it to end so I could come here and talk to my friends, you guys, my loyal fans, about this greatness that we were able to watch before that debacle of a main event. That's going to do it. Don't forget to keep your eyes glued to this channel this week. We've got the House of Glory, Glory of War review. And if you don't follow House of Glory, you should. And if you don't want to hear my review, you don't have to. But I encourage you to do so. I am going to explain to you how I got this beautiful autograph of Mia Yim. And I wish I can block the light. There you go. Now you can see it. And I will tell you how that went down and how cool that was. And everything else that I seen last night at House of Glory. We just went over everything tonight for TLC. And then we will have Monday Night Raw's review tomorrow night. We will have Tuesday Night SmackDown Live review. We are going to cover everything that's going on. And hopefully viral meningitis is going to hit some other people before he's done fixing the Raw roster. I'm not going to say who I would like to be sick because that would be mean. I don't wish sickness upon anybody. But he still remains the superstar of the night, even above AJ and Finn, because they wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Mr. Viral Meningitis. Don't forget to watch everything else. Like, share this video, and subscribe if you have not done so already. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is my buddy Blue, the Snowball Microphone. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check out our sponsors, Clutch Chairs. The link is down in the description below. All you got to do is take a look, click that link, look at the website, and you've helped the show greatly, and I very much appreciate it. That's going to do it, and we are out of here, and we will see you next time right here on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, only on Sledgehammer TV, right here on YouTube.com. Have a good night, and we will see you tomorrow for the Monday Night Raw review. Good night, you guys.